I am bridging the silos, connecting the dots, because I'm not your normal audience. You are not my normal audience. If you don't know who DWS is, I wouldn't be surprised. We're a major asset manager. We invest capital on the behalf of pension funds, insurance companies, individuals who are saving for their future. We buy the companies' stocks and their bonds. We invest in real estate. We invest in infrastructure assets. We provide loans to small and medium-sized companies. And we do that to provide a sustainable future for our clients. But I'm here to try to connect the dots between the financial world and the demand-side flexibility world. We are a German-based company, and we have, several years ago, we established a strategic focus on European transformation. So providing thought leadership, reports, identifying all the issues that Europe faces from a macro financial perspective, from a micro financial perspective, and then how Europe can respond by investing in real estate assets, by investing in infrastructure, by enabling the growth of fast-growing small and medium-sized companies. We established a partnership with the University of Frankfurt, and then we are developing and implementing investment solutions to try to contribute to addressing Europe's issues. And we've identified these three asset classes as being a strong focus area, so owning or lending to real estate assets, whether it's sort of apartment building or an office building or warehouses, investing in all different types of infrastructure assets or lending to them, and lending to small and medium-sized companies. And it isn't just sort of an energy focus. There might be a healthcare focus for some SME. It might be a water focus. We have a lot of transport-related infrastructure investments. But when thinking about investors and their role, you need to consider the investment chain. Who are our clients? So our clients are the asset owners, the pension funds, the insurance companies, the individual retail investors. We're the asset manager, and we invest in a whole series of our investees that we're providing our capital to on their behalf. It might just be a short term, we're owning a few stocks of shares of a company, or we're making a long-term investment, 7-10 years in a real estate asset or an infrastructure asset. And then underlying them, they might have underlying investees, right? So a bank has their own client base of you and I with our checkings account, our mortgages, the companies that they're investing to, and we are the shareholders in them. So one example of how we use our shareholder shareholder influence is to encourage companies to adopt sustainability into their business models. And the image on the other side of the screen is an industry association we're a part of, which was providing sort of questions that investors could ask banks about how they're engaging with their real estate sector. And the literal neighbor of smartEn is the European Mortgage Federation, which is an association of banks doing mortgages. So this is sort of a series of encouraging the efforts of banks to invest in real estate. And I think it's really fantastic that you're holding this event and that you've invited me to try to help connect the dots between these different initiatives because we'll be more powerful globally. One of the key metrics that real estate investors are using is CRREM. It's basically taking the climate science and boiling it down to what it means if you're a warehouse in Poland or an office building in France, and doing that globally. And this information is used to assess by thousands of investors to assess each of their properties and then their portfolios as a whole about how prepared that building is for a net zero future. So the real estate community, the investor community, we are your potential clients. We are the customers. And so as you're providing smart solutions to shift demand, we are that demand side that was just mentioned in that side. So making sure that your solutions are contributing to showing how that this building is becoming more resilient, is saving carbon, is saving energy, becoming more flexible. This is one of the sort of the metrics that is being used. So just a few examples of how we're still, as DWS, still at the very early stages of looking at this. So a number of years ago, my colleagues on our real estate team developed, contracted with a solution provider to provide active energy management. So just making sure that our buildings are being a little bit smarter in how they're operating. It's not yet, I understand, really connecting with the grid and receiving grid signals, but it could at some point in the future. And I think that other real estate investors are probably at a similar point. Some are maybe a little bit further ahead, some further behind, and thinking about making buildings smarter, but I think there's a lot of potential there, as I'll get onto. Or solution providers are an investment opportunity. So one of our infrastructure funds acquired a company that it itself is acquiring, a company that is installing and maintaining heating and ventilation. But then we're trying to help them evolve to become an energy services company so that they can be not just installing and maintaining, but actually helping a restaurant or a supermarket or any type of company install energy services technologies. So as smart technologies and the market signals grow, this is the type of company that could then be saying, okay, let's actually put in, and we can put in a battery, and there's a strong financial case for that to the supermarket that is their underlying client. Or we provided a loan from one of our infrastructure debt funds to a French energy metering company just to help them grow and expand and look at enhance their business opportunities. So the reports that we write are sort of making the case for Europe, for investors in Europe and globally. And with everything that's happening in the US, Europe is increasingly attractive for investors around the world. We're aiming to be a gateway to Europe. And so we're publishing reports sort of explaining what's happening politically in Europe, providing a scorecard on how far different countries are along the path on their transformational journey, whether it's on energy or transport or circularity. And then we're providing asset class specific reports for our clients to explain what are the latest developments on real estate investing, on infrastructure investing. But I'm really here to talk to you about a meeting that I was just at this morning, which was the launch of the EU Commission's Energy Efficiency Financial Coalition. So one of the reports we wrote is explaining all the latest developments on the Energy Performance in Buildings Directive. And I wrote this report with a colleague and added several citations to smartEn reports, laying out the macro benefits of flexibility and also that micro perspective. And this chart, I think I was just blown away by when I saw it, frankly, because I always thought, oh yes, batteries are the most important thing and electric vehicles are the most important. And yes, they are important and there's a lot of potential there, but according to this analysis, that it's actually buildings and heat pumps and the flexibility that's within them, and that was discussed a little bit on the panel just now. And we're owning those commercial real estate buildings. So about a third of commercial real estate is owned as an investment by a private real estate fund or a listed real estate company or directly by a pension fund or an insurance company. And increasingly, it's also apartment buildings. That's a very attractive investment for institutional investors. So I've been a part since 2013 of a European Commission initiative called the Energy Efficiency Financial Institutions Group. And it worked for 10 years at an expert level sort of to provide the insights of banks and investors to the European Commission to inform their policymaking. So we wrote a whole series of reports that are shown there. So one of the reports looked at mortgages, that on a portfolio level, if your home is more efficient, you're less likely to default on it, which just makes sense. If your energy consumption is lower, you're more likely to afford your mortgage payments, especially if energy prices go up or interest rates go up. And banks have continued to build this evidence base to inform the prices and the signals that they have from their regulators. And that enables. So ING, for instance, has just launched a series of mortgages where there's a different interest rate if you have to help you encourage you to retrofit your home. But we need more people to take up those types of initiatives. But what's this IFE group that I was involved in has now been evolved. One of the announcements from after Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the energy price crisis was the Commission announcing to evolve this to a new coalition with member states and financial institutions. So it's been endorsed by all EU energy ministers, and it was the first plenary meeting this morning with senior representatives of banks and investors, Dan Jorgensen, the Energy and Housing Commissioner, and many of the ENER colleagues. We were looking at a number of these actions of how we can try to facilitate more investment in energy efficiency and flexibility, I believe. And what was also announced by the Commission this morning is that they are opening it up. They are wanting more financial institutions to join, but also solution providers. There's now a new call for membership to an invitation to join, to sign a statement of intent to become a member of the coalition as solution providers or as energy-intensive, energy-using companies, because the Commission wants to create this idea of tripartite solutions, a tripartite contract between governments, financial institutions, energy-using companies or assets, and solution providers to really unlock investment. When I first read about that concept from the Commission wrote about just a month or two ago, it was really framed around the renewable energy or around energy-intensive industries. But today they said they want to expand it to include the housing sector. And they said, please come with proposals and ideas. So I would like to work with some of you to see how you could play a role in this. Because the price signals that were just mentioned in this panel, that's revenue, right? That's revenue that improves the business case for doing a retrofit, revenue for retrofits. Energy efficiency and buildings renovations has always only been about the energy cost savings or how you can make a building more valuable. Now there's the potential to have revenue from the grid operators, from the energy companies, and so that's a very strong, a lot of potential there. So these are some of the ideas that at least we as DWS are putting forward into this initiative, and I see that there's very strong potential to link in the work that you're doing in various European projects. So for instance, I'm aware of a UK initiative that connects smart meter data in a trusted data environment to banks. And we were just hearing about an EU project, and some of you are here probably participating in multiple sort of energy sector related European projects. Could we build on those and connect in to financial institutions in some way to provide data and provide signals and revenue to improve the business case for investing in flexible heat pumps to shift your energy demand and reduce your energy demand in different ways. So this is a diagram that I was produced a couple of years ago, and I used it to put into the Commission as thought about a pay-for-performance market. And maybe this could be an element of what this tripartite idea of connecting financial institutions, energy solutions providers such as you here today, and the energy-using companies and industries and real estate assets. So could we imagine how can we connect that? So this is why I wanted to come to you today to provide this sort of inspirational speech, hopefully, to say, look, we need to connect the dots between financial institutions, the policymakers, and the flexibility industry. And I think it's a great opportunity to collaborate and work on specific projects